But I wanted to talk about Winnipeg today specifically because they are the worst team in the league. They are my favorite team, and I would like to rant about them because I don't know how you don't expect this type of thing to happen with the roster they put together. So the Ottawa Senators loss, where they end up blowing a lead, and then they ended up blowing multiple leads, including a 4-1 lead against the Toronto Maple Leafs on New Year's Day. That makes it 9 games in a row that they have lost. They are 0-6-3 in their last 9, 1-6-3 in their last 10, obviously. And this is really just the bottoming out at this point of this team. I don't really have any hope for this season. Not that I really expected much, because here's the thing. The Jets did come off of a impressive 7-game series win over the Blues, where they did outplay them majority of the time. That series went to 7 games because Hellebuyck couldn't stop a beach ball, and the team just couldn't stay poised in clutch situations until Game 7, when they were down 3-1 and they were able to come back and end up winning in double overtime. But the team, they played well in that 7-game series, but realistically, the Blues got more chances than the Jets, and the Jets kind of squeaked that one out in a sense. And then they go on to play Dallas in a 6-game series where they kind of got outplayed majority of the time. And going into this offseason, it was a President's Trophy winning team, and I feel like a lot of Jets fans, myself included, were clamoring for, okay, if there's any time to make a big move, I know it's Winnipeg, and players may not want to play here all the time, but if there's any time to make a big move, now's the time. Now is the time to buy into this team. You have Scheifele and Hellebuyck locked up long term. You've got a couple of players that you need to re-sign. Now is the time to retain who you have and add on to your core and get some better depth scoring, and just make a big run at this thing, because, coming off a President's Trophy win, it's hard to not think that you would be a Stanley Cup contender for the next few years. But instead, what does the team decide to do? They decide to get old and slow. They let Ehlers leave. They also sign, I actually want to go through the contracts that Cheveldayoff signed in free agency, as well as in 2025 in general, and just look back at how these players are currently playing. So they let Ehlers depart. And if you don't think that Ehlers is a big part of this team's success in recent years and how much speed he brought to the lineup, especially compared to this year, let's just go to NHL Edge, which is great. And let's compare the speed of last year's team to the speed of this year's team. So in 2024, 2025, the way that we would rank this would be in the amount of 22 plus mile per hour skating speed bursts. Now that may not mean a lot to people, but it just really shows that there's a lack of speed on this team, and I just wanted to go through this. So last year, the Jets, in 22 plus mile per hour skating speed bursts, according to NHL Edge, they had 94 total. That was 9th in the league. And last year, if you want to go more in depth, their max skating speed was at 24.47 miles per hour. That was not from Nicholas Ehlers, surprisingly. However, that ranked 4th in the NHL. Again, they ranked 9th in 22 plus mile per hour bursts. And then if you look at 20 to 22 mile per hour bursts, they ranked 21st, 18 to 20, 28th. But they had the, I'm just looking here, they had the 4th best, highest skating speed last year. But it shows that last year's team, very fast, very, very much able to get up and down the ice very quick. And that, I believe, is very important in today's NHL. If you look at 2025-26, again, keep in mind this is only about halfway through the year, whereas we're comparing a full year in 2024-25. So far, halfway through the year, the Jets have 25 22 mile per hour skating speed bursts or up. That is 27th in the league. In terms of max skating speed, 23.44 miles per hour. Compare that to last year, just last year, 24.47. So you go down a whole almost full mile per hour. Might be exact, actually. That is 18th in the league. And then they've got 20, again, like we said, 27th in 22 plus mile per hour bursts, 31st in 20 to 22 mile per hour bursts, and 32nd in 18 to 20 mile per hour bursts. In case you're wondering, the guy that has the top speed for the Jets, Mark Scheifele, November 21st against Carolina, 23.44 miles per hour. Morgan Barron very close behind against the Avalanche on the 19th of December. So this team is very obviously slower. They're older and they're slower. And you can look at the offseason additions that they made and the departures that made it very obvious that that was going to be the case this year. Ehlers leaving would be a massive hit to the speed and skill of this team. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So Ehlers goes to Carolina. They also signed Taves and Gustav Nyquist in free agency and Tanner Pearson. Now, Tanner Pearson plays a fourth-line role. I'm not going to get too upset about that. But Jonathan Taves has been playing second and third-line center minutes on this team. He got a one-year deal at $2 million with bonuses included that could bring it up to $7 million. And the fact is that this team, these two additions of Nyquist and Taves, have been complete blunders for the Jets. If you look at their stats this year, for Jonathan Taves, 40 games, 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points is a -13. That is the worst on the team. There's another player that's close that we're going to talk about, but that is the worst plus-minus on the team. He has not looked good. Like, in that, he looks fine as like a fourth-line guy. If you put him on the fourth line, he'd be okay. But relying on this guy to be your second-line center and that being your big addition of the offseason, I just don't see the reasoning in that. And again, I know players don't like to come and play in Winnipeg. I get it. But as a team that won the President's Trophy last year, Winnipeg can't be that bad of a place to live in with a team that good. I don't get how you're not able to bring back a guy like Ehlers or go out and get a guy like Granlund in the offseason. How are you not able to do that? It just bewilders me. And this happens every year, too. Every single year. And then you look at Gustav Nyquist. 30 games, 0 goals, 8 assists, 8 points, -4. This guy's brought in and supposed to be consistently a 20 goal scorer, maybe a 15 goal scorer at this point in his career. And he has none in 30 games. He's just going around skating. He's just having a nice little public skate. And then just look at other players that they brought in this offseason. Not brought in, but like guys that they re-signed. Nemesnikov, February 22nd of last year. 2-year deal at $3 million. $3 million isn't really the end of the world, but Nemesnikov has taken a massive step back compared to last year. 6 goals, 2 assists, 8 points in 40 games, a -8. You can keep going down the list here. Iafallo's actually had a pretty decent year. 3 years, $3.66666 million. And he has, I believe, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points in 40 games as a +2. Not terrible. I don't think he's really a massive issue with this team. Neil Pionk, 6 years, $7 million per season this year. He has, this year, he's got in 36 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points, a -1. Massive step back from last year as well. Again, keep going down the list here. You can keep going. And it's just blunder after blunder after blunder. And then one guy that I really want to talk about, Cole Perfetti. This guy has taken, as much as I love Cole Perfetti, he has taken a massive, massive step back in play. I know he was injured to start the year. I know that. But as a guy who was a 10th overall pick in 2020, I believe, and a guy who I expected, at least, maybe others didn't, but I expected to be a top 6 forward, a genuine top 6 forward in the 60-point range for the Jets, maybe 70-point range if he really gets going in his prime. And in 26 games, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points, -12 in 26 games. Jonathan Taves has played 14 more games than Cole Perfetti, and Cole Perfetti is 1 goal against away from tying Taves for worst plus minus on the team. He has not looked good. Straight up, has not looked good. He's taken a massive step back, much like the rest of this team, because you aren't getting the depth scoring. Look at the top goal scorers or the top point getters on this team. Scheifele, Connor, Velarde, Morrissey, they all have 30-plus points. Connor and Scheifele specifically have 48 points to their names each. Josh Morrissey has 32 points. You go down to the 5th highest scoring player, Nino Niederreiter, 39 games, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. There is a clear step back from the rest of the team besides the star players. There's been a bit of a step back with Hellebuyck. Granted, he's been injured, so maybe take a load off. And then you got guys like Logan Stanley who are performing way better than we expected them to heading into this year. But the fact is that this team is it was not built to be a team that could get to a President's Trophy once again, or a team that could maybe make the conference final. If they thought that this team was going to be able to get to that point, they were delusional. Cheveldayoff must have been delusional thinking that Jonathan Taves is what's going to get them over the edge. This team has lacked a second-line center almost their entire cup contending window. They've had Brian Little, and then they've gone out and acquired guys like Paul Stastny, who worked for a year, and Kevin Hayes, who kind of worked, kind of didn't. They trade Laine for Pierre-Luc Dubois, and he wanted out within a couple of years. Now they've got Nemesnikov, and then now Taves and Lowry. How have they not been able to solve that problem? All these years, they have not been able to find a solid second-line center solution, whether it's through free agency, whether it's through trading, or whether it's through drafting. They have not been able to solve their center depth issue, and it has costed them for years. And on top of that, they are deciding to not play their young players. A team that desperately needs more speed and skill in the lineup, and Cheveldayoff and Scott Arniel and co, they are just they're completely unwilling to play young guys like Chabrikov, guys like Lambert, guys like Yeager, guys like Barlow. That could genuinely bring some nice youth. Solomonson has played a few games as well. He looked all right. I don't know if they're being patient, if it's patience here, or if the Jets just straight up aren't good at drafting, and maybe these guys are never going to be what fans expected them to be. Maybe that's just bad drafting. But you need to give these guys a chance at some point. And if you're not going to, this team is going to continue to crater. Going to continue to crater. At this point, almost, I'm at the point where I'm like, just play the team the way that they're designed to this point, and let's just get a top 3 pick and move on. This team's already last in the league. There's no expectation of playoffs at this point with this team. You don't really have guys that would be of value to trade away. You can almost keep the team the way that it's designed and, call it a day and get a top 3 pick next year. So anyways, there's going to be a presser with Kevin Cheveldayoff. I didn't even answer my question of, is there a rebuild or retool in order? Truth is, I don't know. The problem with the Jets, the reason why I find it difficult to say they're for sure going to do a rebuild or a retool is because I think that Mark Chipman and the ownership of the Winnipeg Jets franchise don't believe that the franchise can survive a rebuild or a retool because if it's a rebuild, it's going to be 5 years. If it's a retool, it's got to be, you'd look at maybe 2 to 3 years. I think the team would be more inclined to do a retool on the fly here than a full-on rebuild, especially when they've got guys like Connor and Scheifele and Velarde and Pionk and Morrissey and Hellebuyck, who are all signed long-term. But I think this team could benefit from a couple years of stepping back and getting some top 10 picks and drafting well. Problem is, I don't know if I have trust in Kevin Cheveldayoff and his group of scouts and assistant GMs. I don't know if I have faith in this front office to be able to pull this off. Cheveldayoff has been the GM of the Winnipeg Jets for how long at this point? Since the inception of it. June 8th, 2011, he started. We have not had another general manager for this franchise. I think this team could absolutely benefit from a new guy at the very top and attack this team with a different philosophy of we are going to try and be an aggressive because we have wealthy owners. Try and be aggressive in free agency. Try and be aggressive in trading because just keeping it the status quo and being okay with bringing in guys like Taves and Nyquist just is not going to get you anywhere closer to a Stanley Cup, and that should be the goal here. That should be the goal. This team and its fan base and the franchise, they have been holding on to this memory of 2018 where the team, let's be real, they beat Minnesota very, very handily. They get by Nashville in 7 games. They were the better team, but they get by Nashville, and then they get just whooped by Vegas in 5 games. Like, that's a team that was, at the time, an expansion team, an inaugural year for that team, and they whooped us in the conference final. And since then, we have not been back to the conference final. Since then, we've had 2 series wins. The not revisionist history, but the nostalgia that we have for 2018 is for a team that doesn't even realistically have a ton of success to their name. They made it to a conference final. That's it. It was a good team, for sure. I really enjoy that team, but like that can't be our gold standard of success. The team should be looking at being a Stanley Cup contender, winning a Stanley Cup. And the people that are in charge are bringing this team further and further away year by year and seem more content with making it to the playoffs and winning a round or two and not going all the way. I can potentially agree with ownership that maybe the team wouldn't be able to survive a rebuild because just, ticket prices for the team, and there's already low attendance for the team anyways. But maybe you can survive a retool. But no matter what you do, I'm going to be interested to see what Cheveldayoff has to say in his presser today and what his answers are, because I am losing faith every day in that guy to be able to run this organization, and I hope that he can pull something off, but if not, by the end of the year, if him and Arniel are not both gone, I would be shocked. This is a team that finished first in the league in the regular season last year and is now on pace to finish last. They are last right now, and if they stay that way, last in the league from first to worst, like that's unacceptable. So I don't know. I'll probably do something with the presser, listen to what he has to say, and then probably make like a short like TikTok video or something about it. But yeah, it just figure it out. Figure it out, Jets. Retool, rebuild, do something. Don't just be like, well, we're just gonna try and stay positive. If I hear that today, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do at that point.